Hi, welcome back to Talk of the Town. Joining us today, Dr. Peter Rippey, part of St. Joseph's Candler Medical Group in Bluffton, gives us a few tips on the best ways to deal with the sun, allergies, heat, and other minor medical occurrences. Dr. Rippey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly. So, with the tournament this week and summer just about here, can you remind us the risks of sun exposure and the steps we should take for protection?
Sure. So even on a day like today where it's kind of cloudy, it's important to remember that if you're going to be outside for a long time, you could still get a sunburn. So making sure that you're wearing protective clothing, long sleeves, pants, a hat maybe with a brim. I know sometimes men like to wear baseball caps, but that doesn't protect the top of your ears, which can also get burned, and that's a common place to develop.
And very sensitive skin.
Sure, and you could develop cancerous and precancerous lesions there later in life. In areas, if it's too warm and you're not going to wear long sleeves, sunscreen with an appropriate SPF, at least 15 or higher, would be good to prevent sunburns, but also help protect your skin from the radiation that causes premature aging and discoloration, and of course increases the risk for cancer.
Right. So how should children be protected differently than adults?
Children are a little different, so their skin is a lot more sensitive, especially children under 6 months. Usually we don't like to recommend using sunscreen if we can get away from it. So if they can wear, again, longer clothing or some kind of a shade or covering to protect them from the sun, that would be better. If that's not possible or not the case, if you're playing at the beach, or their face can't be covered, there are barrier creams that can be used, like zinc oxide will help protect against the sun. And also, if there's no other way to protect, then it is okay to use SPF sunscreen. Of course, you want to be careful about putting it on their hands or around their face. If you're going to apply it to their face, you want to spray it into your hands and then wipe it on their face. And try not to spray their hands, because then they'll put their hands in their mouth, or they'll rub their eyes and get it in their eyes, and it can sting and burn.
Got it. So many people in our area travel internationally, and some will go to the Olympics probably in Brazil. So what should they know about the Zika virus, and is there a risk for people who aren't traveling, so people that are actually here back in the States that are not doing the traveling?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And if you're traveling to Brazil for the Olympics, or really anywhere in South America, Central America, Zika is a risk. Of course, the greatest risk we know is for pregnant women because of the effects it can have on the unborn child. So protecting against mosquito bites, which is how Zika is transmitted, is of paramount importance. So using kind of mosquito-borne repellents, sprays. There's also a spray that you can spray on your clothing called permethrin that can come in a spray. Now that's not to be put on the skin, but you can spray the clothing, and that can help. Of course, again, like with sun protection, long sleeves help keep the mosquitoes off your skin. There is a risk for people who are traveling to those areas and coming back to this area that they could bring Zika virus back with them. So there's also a recommendation that for the first 3 weeks that you return from a trip, that you continue to use sprays and those kind of things to prevent mosquito bites back here. The mosquito that transmits Zika does exist here, although there have not yet been cases reported where people have contracted the Zika virus in the United States without some kind of recent travel. But of course, that's always a risk as the months get warmer and we start to see mosquito activity pick up here. There's a concern that it may spread.
Certainly. And how do you see the allergy season shaping up? I know people are really struggling this year with allergies.
Yeah, I've already seen several people in my office who are starting to have flare-ups of allergies. We had a fairly mild winter, and now with the wet spring, plants are blooming. There's a lot of pollen in the air. Right now it's very high tree pollen, and probably will be for the next several weeks. So if you have allergy issues, now might be a good time to start taking your allergy medicine again. Some kind of an antihistamine would be good on a daily basis, but also sometimes people, if they need nasal steroids now, there are a couple that are over the counter, and those may be a good thing to start as well to help prevent some of those flare-ups.
And quickly, difference between a cold and allergy.
That can be very difficult to determine. A lot of times if there's a lot of fever, it's probably more likely cold, although people that are having a bad allergy flare-up can feel maybe some slight fevers as well. And typically colds last a much shorter time. Allergies can persist for longer.
Dr. Rippey, thank you so much for joining us today. All good information.
Thank you.
And we thank you so much for joining us on today's Talk of the Town.